Okay, hi everyone. If I haven't met you yet, my name is Connie and I'm another one of the learning consultants. And I'm just going to continue on with your Teaching with Canvas fundamentals training that you already started yesterday with my colleague Sue. So yesterday you learned a lot about the basics of what happens when you first log in, what's a dashboard, how do you communicate using inbox messages versus announcements, how do you organize all your content and create new meetings and new assessment holders through the Canvas calendar, which is one of my favorite tools. And then Sue actually went into one of the modules and one of the courses and actually built out some modules. You're using the example of, I think it was a K-12 example about English literature, but you could always adapt it to an RTO situation, a higher ed situation. So I'm just going to continue on with that. So let's see what's on the agenda for today. As Paul mentioned, please log your attendance. He already put it inside the chat. Let me quickly add it again so that you can just see it. And so there's that shared. Now, in terms of what we're covering today, so it's going to be a little bit of a different structure. It's going to be, I like to call it's going to be like an anti-clockwise. So the way we're going to do it is actually, I'm going to show you how to create a Canvas assignment. There's a lot of different assignments. Obviously, there's formative assignments, summative assignments, and I'm going to show you, based on the context of your needs, of your organization, how can you make an assessment that is suited to your needs. So I'm going to go through that, show you how to do all the bits and bops when it comes to the settings. A lot of people get bogged down with the settings when it comes to Canvas because there are quite a lot of different little settings. It takes progress before you get perfection, but these settings are quite important because it impacts what the assessment actually looks like at the end, obviously, but what your students experience. So let me talk you through step by step what those settings mean, and hopefully you realize it's not that complicated. So create an assignment together. I'm going to attach a rubric. Now, while we're at this agenda, I do want to show you, so you'll see there's a few asterisks here, and perhaps Sue's mentioned that to you already. An asterisk means that it's something that is actually decided upon or can be created by your institutional level. So anyone who's attended admin training last week with my colleague Ian, you'll know that there's some shared resources that you can make at an account level, an admin account level, that can trickle down into the actual courses. So anything with an asterisk next to it means that your admins can create that on your behalf. In today's training with Teaching with Canvas, I will still go through how to make it yourself, but just do keep in mind that if your admins are on board, they can streamline some of that for you. Okay, and then I'm going to finally go ahead and submit an assignment. Now, when we submit an assignment, it means I go into my hypothetical student persona. Sue might have mentioned to you yesterday, think pink. When you go into the student view, that's when you are actually acting as a hypothetical student. So you can actually see what the course looks like through student eyes, not through the teacher eyes. And I'm going to be in that hypothetical student mode quite a lot today because I want to show you what it's like when your student actually submits an assignment. So I'm going to go ahead, go into student view, submit an assignment, come back to teacher view, and then we're going to mark that hypothetical student's work. Yeah, so a bit of role play. If I had any props, I normally actually have a hat here, but I don't have my hat today. But then I'm going to move into teacher view and I'm going to actually grade that hypothetical student's work. I'm going to show you all the annotation tools. SpeedGrader is really good. A lot of people who start using Canvas say it's their favorite feature. So I'm keen to hear if it's your favorite feature too, just because it's very efficient in marking students' work and you can put quite meaningful data in there. So go through that. Obviously, once something's marked, it goes to the gradebook, the mark book. So I'll show you how the gradebook works, some settings, general settings in the gradebook. And once all of that's done, we'll move clockwise, so then anti-clockwise up to quizzes. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to create quizzes, take a quiz. Again, there's something called question banks that your administrators can make on your behalf. I'll show you where they're located as well. And then finally, we're going to end with the easiest part. So I am starting at assignments because it's the hardest while you have the most brain space. I'll start in assignments. In the end, by the time we get to discussions, it will seem like a walk in the park for you because discussions are very easy to make and create. Okay, So let's get into it. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to put it in the chat. A chat is like a bit of a parking lot. I might not address it immediately because you can find that sometimes I'll just address the question throughout the training naturally. But if you just, you're just thinking, there's some learners who like to kind of speak as they think. So if that's you, just maybe type as you think. I'm happy for that as well. If you think something's really exciting, I've had some attendees go, that's a great idea. Do that as well. And similar to yesterday, there will be a Zoom poll. So I'll ask you some questions as we go along to make sure you feel engaged, to contextualize it, and make sure you don't fall asleep. So that's important as well. Okay, so let's get into it now. Okay, so we're back here inside of Canvas. We're inside my training instance. And just a quick reminder, so Sue would have gone over all of this. This is the global navigation bar just on the far left. On the far right is the to-do and coming up. So that helps you as a teacher and students to know what they have to actually complete. And if is anything in the next 2 weeks happening inside of your calendar. And these squares, they represent courses, individual courses that you might be enrolled into as a teacher or student. And the one you made with Sue was Session A, Teaching with Canvas. I'm going to go ahead and actually nickname that. So just so that there's a, call it the English course. Okay, I'm just changing the nickname. Remember, you can also change the color. Whatever color you choose here is the color it appears in the calendar. So you can go ahead and do that. Let me quickly change it to orange. Yeah, make it orange just because we can. So for the English course, this is obviously unpublished at the moment. That's fine. You don't want to publish it yet till it's created. So I'm going to go into the English course. Okay, and you can see here that Sue has streamlined the course navigation bar. Remember, this is global navigation bar, course navigation bar. You might hear those two terms used a lot. They're not interchangeable. They are separate entities, I guess. So that's the course navigation bar that's already been streamlined. Sue already created an announcement that is pinned to the top. And then there is these modules that she made: crime writing, film studies, and poetry. But within the crime writing one, she's made a header called crime fiction, a header called week 1, week 2, crime nonfiction. She's added a page. Okay, so just let's quickly look at the icons again. I'm sure you covered it already, but let's do a little refresher. What you can see here is a page. Anytime you see this icon in Canvas, it means that it's just like a Word document, essentially, that's been made inside of Canvas that you can edit in the rich content editor. When you see this icon here, it's the external URL. So you can hyperlink YouTube, ebooks, Wikipedia, whatever you want. The paperclip means it's an attachment. So this is actually being added as a file from your desktop, perhaps. If you wanted to add a file from perhaps Google Drive or your, what's another example? There's Google Drive and there's 360, it's Office 365. It would actually appear as a link because it's technically a link to a drive. Okay, so how about these ones? These are the ones we're focusing on today. So we've got an assignment, which is a paper and pencil. So that's something your students have to submit to you. So that's what we're going to do at first. Then we're going to move to the rocket, which is a quiz. Every time you see a quiz, it's that symbol. And then finally, we'll close with discussion, which is 2 speech bubbles. So the more you use Canvas, the more you'll familiarize yourself with these icons. But I just wanted to show it to you now. Okay, so let's go ahead and go straight away into creating an assignment together. Oops, sorry. Okay, so right now what we have is we've got an empty assignment. By the way, just quickly in case you forgot how to get to that stage, all you have to do is press plus. So I'm just trying to find my mouse. Yeah, and you just have to choose one of the drop downs. So those are all the icons associated. Choose that. You could just call it new assignment. I'm just giving you an example, a new essay. You go add item, and then that's how it appears. So once you've actually populated that in your module, then you just go into it, and then you just have to press the edit button. Just use a pencil. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so remember when I told you there's lots of nuts and bolts and little details of the settings? These are them. Not too many, but let's go through them all. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do in this is, it's the rich content editor. So you would have explored this with Sue in quite a bit of detail yesterday. So just a quick reminder that this means that you can put all different types of text in here. You can add a photo, you can record yourself, you can put formatting formats if you even want. So there's a lot of different items. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to just copy and paste this item here. Just bear with me. I'm using a new mouse today, so just give me a second. Okay, I'm just trying to copy and paste this text. Now this one is based on a K-12 context, so it might not completely be something that you would use, but I just want to use it as an example. So for example, we have here this text that was pre-populated, and here it's actually like it's just some words from the actual book. Lonely Bones is a book, crime fiction book. So this is a excerpt. I thought it was an excerpt. Anyways, from Lonely Bones. This is the text. And then what you have to do is you read it, and then you have to use this sheet to identify the techniques used here. Now, up here it says to actually upload something. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to upload a file here. So all you have to do is add file. I'm going to upload a document, upload file. Actually, you know what? I have it already. Let's upload a file here. It's going to be a course document. There we go, that's it. So I've already put it, or Sue's already added it into the file section here. So you can always add files directly into Canvas, or you can add it directly from your desktop. So this one, in this case, it was already uploaded here, and I could just drag it into that. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and twice. I actually want this to open up when my students look at it. So I'm going to automatically open it up. Okay, and that is essentially the homework. I might make this bigger. I might make that highlighted. I might highlight that yellow. This is the question. I might make this one, I don't know, this size. I can change the font if I really wanted to. So I can go ahead and go into format, and then I can actually change fonts. There we go. Comic Sans, everyone loves Comic Sans. So I'll go in here just to show you can do all these different things. Okay, so once I've given the description or the instructions for the homework, now this is just one example where it actually has the stimulus or the excerpt inside it. In some of your cases, you might simply say, hey, read the attached scientific paper, and then upload the scientific paper and write a two-page research essay based on it, or provide your hypothesis and some supporting documents to support this attached stimulus. So there's so many different ways. Just have a little think about the ways that you might decide to use it. But this is me just essentially copying and pasting it from another assessment document I had and putting it into Canvas, which you can definitely do. And then I'm going to quickly show you this tool here. It looks like a man doing a bit of a star jump. It's actually the accessibility checker. And I find more and more these days, I have customers who have students with some learning needs. Yeah, so, maybe their eyesight, they're a bit colorblind, they need to actually use the text reader. So the accessibility checker just helps me to see, change the heading tag, that's it, okay. But that's the only issue that I had. It was all done. Now, let's say this was, the background of this was dark blue and against black text. It's very hard to read. So actually the accessibility checker will tell me to change the color. So it's pretty good. So definitely use that tool. Okay, so now that we've put the instructions for the assignment, what I'm going to do is fill in all these details. Now, this is what I'm actually going to get you to let me know in your context the types of settings you might have. So let me get my first poll question. Okay, the first thing that I would like to know is, with your types of assessments for your students, how do you display mark? Okay, so what kind of marks do they receive? Do they receive, a 5 out of 5? Okay, just points, that's a point system. Do they receive a percentage, 80%, 90%, 20%? Is it just complete, incomplete? Is that how the assessments are marked? Is there a letter grade, A plus, B plus, C plus, or high distinction, distinction, credit, pass, fail? Or is there a customized letter grade? Customized letter grade, by the way, is for the RTOs in the room, because you might actually have competent, not yet competent. Okay, satisfactory, not yet satisfactory. That is actually customized letter grade. Even though it's not a letter, you can actually customize whatever words you want there. So it doesn't just have to say A, B, C, D. Instead, if a student gets 90 to 100%, they can get excellent. Or if they get 80 to 70%, they can get very good, or, you know, competent, not yet competent. Completely up to you. So let me know, just vote in this Zoom poll, and I will use that, whichever the most voted one is, and we'll keep going. I can see one person has voted customized letter grade. I will quickly show you where to go if you need to create your own letter grade, like excellent, very good, needs improvement, or high distinction, distinction credit, whatever letter grade you need, I'll show you where you can find it. But I'll give you 2 more people have to vote. %. By the way, if anyone's watching going, what's going on? Why are we waiting? What Zoom poll is she talking about? Because we've logged on via Zoom, there's actually a functionality in Zoom called polling. If you don't see any poll on your screen, it should just say marks in progress and ask those questions. You might need to minimize your screen because it might be hidden behind one of your existing windows. So if anyone can't see the Zoom poll, it's probably just hidden behind one of your windows. So just minimize. But, you know, 86% of you have voted, so let's keep going. And majority of you have said it's actually points. Okay, that makes life easy for me. 2 points. So there you go. So you can, it's already, that's the default actually, points. I'm just going to say 5 points. It could be out of 100 points. It could be out of 63 points, completely up to you. Assignment group. We won't go into this in details because today is just fundamentals. I don't want to overwhelm you, but essentially what assignment groups mean is the group of assignments this particular assessment will belong to. So you can actually create your own assignment groups for, I won't do it now, but you could create a new group for essays. So any assignment that is an essay can go into that group. Let's say you wanted to make one for, journal reflections, you know, like a formative journal reflection. You could actually create a new group called journal reflections. You could have one for video submissions. So you can create as many groups that the assessments can fall into. And that just means it's easier for you to find those assessments, to categorize them, and even put weightings on different groups. But we won't go too much into that. Assignments is a default, and then you can always put it into another group afterwards. Okay, so that's how you display marks as. If you are the people who chose percentage, you just choose percentage. Complete, incomplete is very straightforward. Letter grade is, okay, let's go into letter grade. Now, right now, if you choose letter grade, it just is the standard A to F, okay, the kind of American standard. Now, you can change that if you wanted to. So anyone who has an RTO, anyone who is a younger student teacher, you might be interested in this. If you click View Grading Scheme, okay, you can see that, yeah, that's the A to F. But if you wanted to create your own grading scheme, so instead of 194% being A, you might make that excellent. You could call it excellent. You could put an emoji there if you wanted to, and you can always remove some of these lines. So to give you an example, I'll just show you some I have. For example, there's one for RTOs, competent, not yet competent. Okay, so this means that if a student gets 100%, so normally I would make the points out of 1. And then if they get 1 out of 1, they see competent on their grade book. If they get 0 out of 1, 0.5 out of 1, they get not competent. You can do it for satisfactory. You can have one for smiley faces, as I said. You know, you can dictate the percentages. You can dictate what they see. Yeah, coolness. Cool, not so you need some more cool. High education. This is an Australian context, but I think also overseas in Asia, you can use this high distinction to fail. Yeah, so there's a lot of different options here. Now, this is not pre-populated. You do need to make this yourself, or your admins make it yourself, and then you will always be able to find these grading schemes afterwards. But we won't use this one today. We'll just keep it simple with points. Now this text box, do not ignore this text box. Do not, a lot of people just don't really notice it. Have a think what it might mean. And in the meantime, I'm going to put another Zoom poll, which is, do you mostly use formative or summative assessments? If you're not sure what that means, formative essentially means that it goes towards checking that your students are understanding the work and content, but it doesn't actually go towards their final marks. Whereas summative, it all goes towards their final marks. So I said mostly here. You could obviously use both, but I just want you to think about the one that you use mostly. Yep, 12 out of 15 of you have voted. Okay, great. So let's keep going. So 77% of you have said summative. So that's great. That means that you do want it to appear in their final grade, their final weighting of their grade. So if that's the case, you can actually ignore it. You don't have to worry about this box. But if it was for those who voted formative, you would actually click this. Because what you're saying is, sure, it can appear in the grade book, but I don't want it to appear towards their final mark, their final grade. So you just click that box, still create the assignment, but it doesn't go towards their final percentage. Okay. Now let's talk about submission type. Submission type. Now there's another drop down, 4 different options here. And I'm going to get you to vote again. So trying to keep you on your toes. Assignment type, here we go. So I want you to have a think about the types of assignments you might want to use on Canvas. Now there's for each of these, there's 4 different options. The first one says a no submission. Now no submission might sound counterintuitive, but what no submission actually means is it's saying that your students don't have to submit anything virtually. Okay, so it might be a live performance, it could be a drama, it could be a language kind of, they just have to speak in front of the classroom, play the flute in front of you. They don't need to submit anything on paper. They're just doing it in front of you, and then that you assess them as a teacher. This is also in higher ed, maybe it's a lab report, lab observation. That's no submission. Second one is online, and that's the most popular one, obviously, because it's online learning with Canvas. And that means you're asking them to upload a file, upload a recording of themselves, upload themselves actually doing something, and an actual video. On paper is similar to no submission in the sense that there's nothing virtually submitted. So it just means you give the instructions online, but then you physically give them a piece of paper so that they do it on the piece of paper, you mark it on the piece of paper, you see the grade, you put the grade into Canvas, and then they get the paper back. At no point do they need to really submit anything into Canvas. And the last one is external tool. So I have the example here, there's plagiarism checkers, Turnitin, Studio, if you've purchased Studio, Google Classrooms, Office, I think it's Office, something Classroom. Like there's a few different apps. If you want them to do it through an external one, then there's that option as well. So have a think about the ones that you think you'll use. You can tick all the ones that apply. You don't just have to choose one. And let me know, and then we will keep going. Okay, so 80% of you have voted. Oh, there we go. Let's go. I'll leave it at that. 13. So I'll end the poll. Yeah, and I'll share the results. So as you can see here, 85% of you have said online. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and choose online. By the way, when you choose online, there's a few options. Okay, so obviously there's these. Let's talk about these options actually, because these, whatever you click here, whatever you tick off, is what your students are going to see. It's their way that they know they can submit. So if you tick all of them, it means they have 4 different ways they can submit their assignment. You just tick one, it's only giving them one option. So for example, we have text entry here. Text entry essentially means that they have access to the rich content editor. So they can do whatever they want. It says text, but as we all know, with Canvas, this text box is so much more than a text box. You can record yourself, put YouTube videos, add images. So it says text entry is not just text entry, but it means that they have the access to the rich content editor. So if you want them to submit from that, okay, we'll tick it. If you are maybe an IT teacher or graphic design teacher, and you want them to submit an assignment or a blog, blog of their work, you can actually get them to just give the URL, and then you'll mark it externally on that URL. If you want them to send a recording of themselves singing, or maybe a recording of them playing the flute, then you can choose that. And if you want them just to upload a file, so this is the most popular option. This means PDF, Word documents, etc. They can actually upload any of those. Click that. Now, I'm going to leave it as that, but if you wanted to tell your students you can only upload PDFs, then you could go ahead and click write PDF here. And if they try and upload like a document, like a Word document, it gets rejected. So keep in mind you do have that option, but I'm quite open with that. So that's the online option. And finally, there is one that says external tool. So again, if you have a Turnitin account, a Google Classroom, etc., you actually can just go ahead and press find, and you can find whichever. Yes, I've got Office 365 Cloud assignment, for example. If I had Google Classroom, I'll also just be able to select it, and it just means students will be directed to there to submit their assignment, not in Canvas. But I'm going to keep it with online tools because that's the one that was most voted for on paper. Online tools. On paper, just if you choose on paper, that's where you go. But so we're going to go ahead and leave it at that. Okay, so let's keep going. Now there's some more settings. We're nearly done. There's submission attempts. This is great. This means you can actually say, can they submit as many times as they want, or is it limited? Can they only do it 3 times, and then they have to request to you as teachers to be able to do it again? That's up, so I'm going to say 3 times is the max, and then they have to ask for permission. If you left it unlimited, okay, you could, and that just means that if they uploaded 10 copies, you would actually see every 10 copy, you would see the timestamp, and you can choose which one to give them the final grade on. So just to let you know, that's what happens if you choose unlimited. Moving on to group assessment and peer review, I'm not going to cover that, but that is an option within Canvas, so feel free to use the Canvas guides. I'm sure Sue already showed you. You can always click this. It's a hyperlink to the Canvas catalog, the Canvas community. Just literally look up in the search engine group assignments, peer reviews, and you can find out some more information on that. But we'll keep going. The last thing I want to show you with assignments is assign to and when. So this is who the assignment is for, and this is when is it due. So we'll say it's due, it's already December, it's a bit scary, on the 4th of December, okay? And this 2 options is often ignored, but let me tell you why it could be useful for you. Now, you're saying it's due on December 4th, okay? Let's say a student submits it on December 6th. Can they still submit it? Right now they can. There is no cutoff date. It will be late, it will show up as late, but they can still definitely submit it. Now, if I actually put December 4th in the until date, it means that is the cutoff date. Right now by default it says just before midnight, but you could actually choose, if your end of work day is 5 p.m., you could actually change it in the time area here. And that means that they cannot submit it in a minute over that time. Canvas actually gives them a rejection message saying, it's past the due date. So that's what until means, and that's why it could be useful for you. Available from could also be useful to you if you're the type of teacher, assessor, course designer who likes to really make a lot of assessments out throughout a whole semester, throughout a whole year. And so you might want to create an assignment for December next year, okay? But it's not going to be available from 2021. So you would actually be able to choose the date in which students could actually access the assignment. It's still created, but they can't actually submit anything till next year. So that's what available from means. Okay, and before I hit save, I just want to give you another scenario, which is often forgotten about this button, which is class add. Let's say there is a student who unfortunately gets sick. Okay, it's December 3rd, she's really sick, she has a doctor's certificate, ask for an extension. How do you as a teacher give them an extension? Okay, it's a common question I get. Now, it's very easy to do that. You simply have to go back into your assignment. You just go, right now we're in edit mode anyways, but you would have to go ahead and press edit. Then you just scroll all the way down to plus add, press plus add, and then you just give it to that one student. So it's poor Beatrice, not feeling too well. So I'm going to give Beatrice, I'll give her a week extension to the 14th. Okay, and I'll also say she can't submit it after, the 11th, she cannot submit it after that. And that's it. And you'll see that everyone else won't even know. No one else will know she has an extension, and this is everyone else. So you can definitely do this for particular students. If you have different sections in Canvas, meaning different cohorts within one group, within one enrollment. So you might have a group on Wednesday, you see on Wednesday, and a group you see on Friday. Okay, so Wednesday and Friday's class. So obviously this assignment is due on Wednesday for one of the class, and then it's going to be due on Friday for the rest of the students. They're all enrolled in the same course. They're all enrolled in the same assignment. How do you section off their due dates? Same thing, plus add, find section, we call it section C. You can call what we could call this Wednesday's group, and then you can have Friday's group, and you just choose Wednesday's group is due on Wednesday, and then plus add, section D. Section D's group is due Friday. So that's how you can actually use this component. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you a question about due dates. Have a think about why this could be applicable in your context. Do you think you would ever need multiple due dates or to grant extensions in your courses that you are teaching assessing in? So you can go ahead and tell me which one. Okay, thanks for your votes. Let's keep going. I think we have a new guest who's come. There's now 16 of you. Welcome, whoever's just joined. Please, I'm going to put in the chat box. Please log your attendance. Log your attendance. If you've just joined, welcome. Please log your attendance in the chat. We are doing a Zoom call right now in case you don't see it. It could be because you've maximized your Zoom screen. So you have to minimize it and it's hidden behind one of your windows. Anyways, let's keep going. Okay, it's good to see that a few of you will have different cohorts, so that's where you know to go. I have had people who've said no one date to rule them all, put it there as a joke, but a few people have actually said, no, too bad if they can't, if they get sick. So there you go. Let's keep going. I'm going to go finally and hit save. Okay, and that's our lovely assignment that we've created. So there's an excerpt there. There is this PDF that opened up because I made it actually open up in the assignment. It's a big assignment there. And then that's what they have to do. 5 points, 3 attempts. Okay, now we could just leave it here and we've officially created an assignment. But I do want to also go ahead and show you how to attach a rubric. It says attached because it's fundamentals. I'm going to quickly show you that you can actually make one as well. So you just have to go ahead. Now you don't have to press edit again. You can just stay here and you just hit plus rubric. Now, if you wanted to create your own rubric, all you have to do is you just give it a title. So let's call this the analytical writing rubric. Okay, and then you have criteria. So criterions are essentially just different ways you're going to mark the students. You can have as many as you want. We're just going to go ahead and put one. We're just going to keep one here. So what I'm going to call this one is the criteria is how, you could just put all these clearly identifies. And then you can put a longer description here, whatever you want. Okay, so right now the default is 5 points. It doesn't have to be 5. You could make it 10 points. You could make it 1 point, completely up to you. In fact, you can actually even remove the points. I'll show you how to do that afterwards. But let's keep it easy. Let's keep it fundamental and at the standard level. And I'm going to show you that you can just very easily populate your different ratings. So if you have rating, if you have rating 1, now you can leave it at 5 points. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and call this one. You could actually call this, distinction if you want it. Distinction, credit, pass, fail. I'm going to call this like high distinction. Put a HD. Actually, sorry, I'm going to call it excellent. I'm going to make my own. So just letting you know, you could actually go ahead and put the ratings here. You can call it whatever you want, and there's just points there. I'm going to make another one. So I'm going to call this one level 3. I'm just going to call that good. Okay, I'm going to have another one here. So level 2 is satisfactory. We'll make that one satisfactory. So again, I'm actually just copying paste from another rubric that I have, because unfortunately there is no way to import rubrics. You do have to make it scratch like this. So just please keep that in mind. Okay, we'll do one more, which is this one. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my mouse. Needs improvement. And I'm just going to go ahead and call this one not satisfactory. Submit again. Okay, so that's what I could say. And I've got one more, which is very good. Okay, there you go. So you can go ahead and you can create your own rubric. Now you can create as many, I can add more and more criteria, and I can copy this rating system. And then I could just go ahead and go ahead and put extra criteria. Now I can either create a new one from scratch that just has 5 and 0, or I can actually duplicate all these ratings, which is useful. We'll leave it at there, and I'll just quickly talk to you about the nuts and bolts underneath a rubric. So essentially what it's saying here is if you write free-form comments, what you're saying is you don't actually want all this rating. So you would just go ahead and have the criteria, and then the teacher would have to bespoke some text here, okay? Not super popular, but you can. Removing points can be quite popular if you're competent, not yet competent, satisfactory, not yet satisfactory kind of RTO. This could be a good option for you. If you want to, for the one that I'm going to go ahead and do is if you wanted to hide the total, you could as well. But I'm going to use this rubric for assignment grading, because using this rubric for assignment grading means it just saves me a lot of time. In this case, it's only 5 points, but let's say I had a rubric with 100 points and I have like 50 criteria, and you're going in and you want to use the rubric. How do you calculate your student's final mark based on the rubric? You have to do 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. It's a lot. So this actually allows you to get Canvas to do the maths for you. If you press this box, then this box, and this box, and this box, it calculates it for you. So I like this option a lot. Saves me a lot of time. So I'm going to give you a chance here to let me know with the rubrics. Just have a quick look at that. With your rubrics, if you're going to use it, or even just think about if you were to use one, which options would you choose? When I say show different levels of rating, what I mean is what I have here, which is the 5 different levels of rating. If you choose write free-form comments, it means you're removing all the ratings. Remove points, use the assignment for assignment grading, and then you can hide the score total. So let me know which ones you think you might use when it comes to your time to make rubrics. And also, please don't hesitate to put any questions in the chat. All right, got it. So let's keep going. I'll just show you as well. Okay, so a lot of you said you would use this rubric for assignment grading. Thumbs up. I always recommend doing it. Saves you a lot of time and showing different levels of grading. Perfect, which you need to have in order to use it for assignment grading. So that's good as well. Okay, so let's keep going. Now, that's how you make a rubric from scratch. Now, you can also find a rubric, meaning that you've created a rubric before in this instance, or your, your head of department, whoever is your admin, and I talk about Canvas admin, they can actually create a rubric for you that you can just pop straight into here. If that's the option, you just press find a rubric, and then you'll be able to see all these different rubrics that, I have a lot of other people who've made for me. Some of my admins have made, and I can go ahead and just choose it, and I can just use this rubric and edit according to my needs. So you don't have to use it word for word. You can always edit. You can add an extra level of rating. You can change the points around, all those different options. So that's if you wanted to just use an existing one. Okay, but I'm happy with that. Make sure you create rubric, so it's saved. Some people forget to press create rubric, and then it does not save, and it's not there. Okay, guys, so we've gone ahead and we've created an assignment, woohoo, with a rubric. So now it's time to finally go into my alter ego, and I'm going to actually submit an assignment. Okay, so let's go ahead and submit an assignment. So I'm going to go back to my home page. Is it all published? Yeah, just checking everything's published. Not this one, but I don't need to look at it. Okay, so a quick reminder, if you ever want to go into hypothetical student mode, all you have to do is go to your home, and there's a button here that says student view. Very important, student view. It's got glasses. If I had glasses, I'd wear them now just to give you that vibe. But I'm going to go into student view. Whenever I have a pink border, I'm a different person. So I'm now my student, hypothetical student in my course, and I'm going to go ahead and actually submit it. So what does your student see? Let's go into it. Okay, so my student can see this is the instructions the teacher gave her. There's all this PDF for her to look at. That's great. These are the instructions. How effective is it? And that's the rubric in which she's going to grade me on. So all I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to press submit assignment. And my teacher ticked all those online option boxes, right? Remember, as teachers, we clicked all those options. So as a student, I have to choose one of these options to actually submit. I can either upload a file. I have rich content editor. I can actually put a lot of different content in here. I can put my blog. I can record myself. And because my organization, my school, has downloaded Office 365, I also have that option. So Annalyn has asked, how can I share a rubric I created to Canvas to a co-faculty? Good question. If it's a co-faculty, I would ask them, there's two options. As an admin level, you could actually get the person who has the most root account admin level to actually create it, put it at that level, and then that means everyone can use it. Another option, Annalyn, is that you can actually go ahead and you can just share the assignment directly to a staff of that co-faculty, because rubrics are attached to assignments. So all you have to do is press share assignments, and that rubric will go to them as well. Good. Yeah, and that's going to probably be used with direct share. If you don't know how to use that, you can look it up on the Canvas guides. If we have time at the end, I can also show you how to direct share different assignments, different quizzes, etc., to different teachers, as long as they're enrolled in your instance. Okay. Thanks for that question. I'm going to go ahead and, sorry, back to student mode. So I'm going to go ahead and I can choose file upload. So as a student, I'm going to choose a file. Okay, and I'm going to open this one. Okay, and I'm going to say, hi, Miss, please. Okay, and as a student, I'm just simply going to submit it. Okay, beautiful. Now that that's done, I'm going to leave student view. So I'm going to be a teacher again. And so as a teacher, I can actually go ahead straight away and press speed grader, because that's where we're going into now. I'm going to show you how to mark work. So you can either do it by going to the assignment itself and just on the right hand side press speed grader, or you can go here and you can actually press under your to do section. It says grade this, because you're the teacher. Canvas sends a reminder to you to grade the work. So there's a few different ways you can actually mark their work. You can also find it on your dashboard. I'll just go here. And okay, so I can see Susie Temlet, one of my students. This is her analysis. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to annotate it. So this, everyone, is called the annotation tool. Annotation tools within SpeedGrader. And you can do a lot of different things. You can actually use this kind of pointer tool, and you can actually go okay, and then you can change the color. Okay, I can highlight things as well. Text here. Okay, you can strike things out. So I can go ahead and say, yeah, and then you can say repetitive. Okay. And finally, this is my favorite tool here. It's actually like the paint tool. And what you can actually do is when you're on the computer, it's obviously very nice because you can like circle words. You can point at things. Yes, you can do all these different things. I like it because you can actually go ahead and if you're marking on your iPad, you know, or your iPhone even with the stylus, you can actually, it's going to look really ugly when I do it here because I'm on my laptop. But you could actually go, hello, how are you? And obviously on a pen, when you've got like a virtual pen, not virtual, an e-pen, it's really smooth and gliding. So it really does feel like you're writing on a piece of paper if you're using this tool. Okay, and then finally there is the box. If you ever had like an image or something that you just wanted to, you know, box around. So that's me annotating. Let me ask you, you've seen the tools. Let me give you a chance to reflect, let that sink in. Okay, so just let me know which of these that you just learned about. So this is called the point annotation. Let me highlight. This one's called point annotation. This is the highlight tool. Point annotation highlight. So I just voted all of them. Yep. Text, strike out, you can draw, and then there's the box option. So a lot of different options here. Which ones do you think you'll use?
Excuse me, Connie. It's Michelle from H&H. Hi. With the SpeedGrader, is this because we clicked on it? We're following along on our laptops, and we clicked on it. Now those options aren't visible to us.
What file are you trying to mark? Is it an image? Is it just a photo?
No, it's not. It's just some text.
Oh yeah, sorry. So that's a really good question. If it's a PDF document, they are displayed, but if it's just a text box, that option actually doesn't come up.
Oh, right. Okay. Thank you.
So did you just write some text in the rich content editor?
Yeah, we did.
Yes. Yeah. So unfortunately, that doesn't have the rich content editor with it. But I know that is on the roadmap because there used to be ones where someone would just upload a photo of, you know, a dog, and we didn't have these annotation tools. But with the new rounds of updates, now that can be editable and that can actually be annotated. So I feel like it should be any, you know, hopefully actual text that's in a rich content editor submission can also be annotated. In the future, I don't know the date, but it feels like they are working on that.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Okay, awesome. Ooh, all 15 of you have voted. This one got people excited. Okay, so I'm going to end this poll. Just to share, everyone's pretty much said all of them. That's good. Not so much the box, though. I understand. I think boxes are better if it's kind of like research, essay reports, like journal reports that involve people uploading photos in their PDF as well. Maybe like biology reports and stuff like this, lab reports. You not often have like graphs and images that use boxes. Okay, great. So let's keep going. So I'll move on now to, so this is, this is a rich content editor. We haven't even given the grade yet. There's so many cool things you can do. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it and just press View Rubric. So it's quite a big rubric. So just there you go. And with this one, all you have to do, you can imagine it could be a really long rubric as well with several criteria. In this case, I've just got one. I'll just look at this and I'll say it's very good. Yeah, it's pretty good. But I'm just going to leave a comment as well. So default, it says 4 out of 5. There's a little text box underneath, so you can even give comments within each criteria, which is really great. And you can go ahead and say, good identification of 3 techniques. However, analysis on 3rd, what needs improvement? Okay, here you go. You know, and you can even say, you can actually change it if you wanted to. You could actually go, that's actually 3.5. So you can actually do half point if you really wanted to, but it just doesn't identify to one of them. They'll just know, oh, okay, I didn't actually fit into one of those boxes. But you can definitely do that if you wanted to. And then I'll hit save, and then that's my marks, 3.5. Now, if you had chosen to display marks as percentages, it would show the percentage of 3.5 out of 5 times, 100%. But in this case, it's just got points. So it's nice and simple. What else can you do here? You can leave further comments. So especially if you, like in Michelle's example, you couldn't actually annotate on the writing itself, because it was through text submission, then you can actually still leave a lot of comments here in the assignment comments. So you could say, hi, Susie, you do the same thing. If you wanted to, you could actually record yourself. So this is a super popular tool. Hi, Susie, I really liked your efforts, XYZ, and if you could just improve on KTC, that would be really great. Let me know if you have any further questions. Okay. So you can put that, and then she can always watch that, and that's saved and nice. Now this icon here, some people think it's just an audio recording. It's not. If you ever wanted to do an audio recording, you just stay here, but instead of webcam, you just choose no video, and that's just your voice. So it's almost like giving a phone call. That's a nice option as well. This one is actually called speech to text. And to be honest, I don't see it being very popular on laptops, but it is popular on your iPhone. And I'll show you why, if that is if you downloaded the app on your phone. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit record. Hi, Susie, comma, really great job, exclamation mark, XYZ, comma, please be more thorough with your analysis for paragraph 3, full stop. Thank you, exclamation mark. Okay, so yeah, I would say it's around 80% accurate. Susie, that's not really that. Oh, Susie. Okay, cool. And then you can go ahead and you just go ahead and hit submit. Now this is obviously good if you're just marking quickly on your phone or your iPad, and it just transcribes your comments in one go. You just hit the record button, just like as if you're sending a text message, but you don't want to type. Okay, so that's all of this inside the speed grader. You can also download the submission comments. You can download this as a PDF, as a separate document as well. Yeah, and then you can also go ahead and you can, if you're wanting to mark in one big bulk, you can see all the students' names here. You can just go next, 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 and anyone who has submitted, you can mark them in one go. Okay, so you can see the overall marks. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the speed grader. Any questions at all about the just marking process? I'll go into what it looks like in the Gradebook and student perspective, but any questions about the speed grader tool in general? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and we've gone finish this submit. Sorry. Where did you go? Okay, annotation tool, grading with Rubric. Okay, let's go into student feedback now. Sorry, I want to show you what it looks like for your students to view their feedback. Okay, so let's go back to here, go back home. I'm going to go into student view. Okay, so again, think pink. I'm now the hypothetical student. I'm not a teacher anymore. Now, as a hypothetical student, how do I would have received a notification, probably if I hadn't turned my notifications off, that my homework's been marked. So I'm excited, I run to my computer or my phone. Where do I go to actually see how I did? Now, inside of the course, I can actually see on the left-hand side in the course navigation bar, there's something that says marks. So I can go ahead and press marks here. So it's analysis of the opening, and I can see, okay, so I got 3.5 out of 5, and then I can go ahead and click it, click view feedback, and I can see all the elements that my teacher gave comments on. Okay, rephrase. Okay, how is this? Rephrase. So just as a student, I can actually respond to this one, and I can see, oh, sorry, you know, or please look at this. I will, can I see you next week to discuss? Okay, so you as a student can leave all these comments. Okay, great job. I can obviously see all of these things that my teacher's given me. Susie, I really liked your efforts, X, Y, Z, and if you could just improve on KTC, that would be really great. Let me know if you have any further questions. Okay, and then I, as Susie, the student, can always go ahead and I can say, thanks, Miss. I can attach a file. So maybe my teacher's asking me to fix paragraph 3, but I don't need to resubmit the whole assignment. She just wants me to rephrase it. I could either just rephrase it by typing it up here, or I could actually attach a file, and I can actually attach some more documents. So it's just up to Susie in this case. And of course, Susie can always record herself, and it's like having this back and forth, face-to-face interaction between teacher and student, and it's all saved in Canvas. So you've always got that for, I guess, compliance reasons as well. Okay, so and I can, as Susie, I can also show my results. So Susie can see, oh, okay, I didn't really fit in any of these, okay, because, okay, so I did do 3, however, the third one needs improvement. That's why I got 3.5. Gotcha. I can see further descriptions. So yeah, that's what I can see here as Susie, the student. Any questions about the student perspective? Okay, let's keep on rolling then. So I'm going to leave student view, and now let's talk about Susie the student and where that appears as the teacher in the gradebook. So I'm going to go ahead and now as a teacher, so I no longer have a pink border. If I press that same place that my student just was, which was marks, you'll see that as a teacher, the view is very different because as a teacher, I actually will see an actual mark book. I'll actually see all my students' information. So if I go to marks, so I'm no longer in student view, I'm as a teacher, and I can see all my students' names. I can see that there's a column here for every assignment that I've made, and I can see that's my students' mark 3.5, so it's pretty straightforward. Now, obviously, over time, this will be filled with different marks. Some of them might be percentages because you've said that you want to display mark as percentage. Now, if that's the case, you can always go ahead, and if you wanted this some consistency, you can actually, I could see this as percentage. If I prefer seeing things as percentage, I can always do that as well, but the student will still see 3.5. So that's always an option here. Yeah, so that's pretty much what it looks like. Eventually, you'll see different colors as well because, you know, if Susie had been late, her square would have become blue. If it was after the due date and she hadn't submitted it, it would actually turn to missing. So I'll see all these red boxes. Whenever I come in and I see red boxes, I have to go up and check, you know, why didn't you submit your assignment? Oh, you're excused because you were sick. Okay, then I can turn it to yellow. So eventually you'll see different colors as well. What else can I show you in the gradebook? Okay, and then another main thing, very fundamentals, is, let me ask you a question again. This is an important question I get asked a lot. So how would you like your marks or your grades to be released to your students? Do you want it to be automatically like Susie? You know, so Susie got her marks the minute the teacher marked it. Now, or do you prefer that the teacher can mark everyone's assignment over 2 weeks, no one knows their grades yet, and only when the teacher is ready can all the marks be seen from the different students? So which one do you prefer? It's normally both, but So Shirley's asking while everyone's voting, can you view Gradebook by section, aka class? We would have a different teacher per section. You can, let me actually check the question. Filter. Yes, you can. There you go. So Shirley, you can definitely go ahead and view filters, filter by sections. Then you see the section, and then you would have section C and then section D, or you have as many sections, Miss Tub, and then you might have Miss Green. You know, you could have all these different names here. You get to decide what the name of the class is called. Yeah. So then these are all the ones from here, and this is all the ones here. But at the moment, and you can see the students' names change because there's different students in different sections. And then choose all sections. Yeah. Okay, great. So I'll end that poll. So a lot of you have said both. That's good for me to hear because I will show you how to do both. But just to let you know, you do have to have a default. So right now the default was automatic. As you could see, I hadn't changed anything, but Susie got her marks straight away because the policy is automatic. Now, if most of your assignments are going to be manual, you do need to change something. You do need to go, and again, your admins can do this on your behalf if they template your course. Otherwise, as individual teachers, just remember you can always go and change it yourself. On the very right-hand side of the marks in the gradebook, there's a little bolt symbol just here. You can hopefully see it next to the search button, next to where you go ahead and make sections. Okay, and you press it. There's a late policy, by the way, in case you ever needed to put an automatic late policy. But what I wanted to show you is the grade posting policy, and it's super simple. You just have to go ahead and choose manual. If that's what you're mostly going to use. If you're mostly going to keep with automatic, you don't need to do anything. But for those who have, there's a few people who voted for this, you would need to update it. And then let's say now, so that means it's too late for Susie student. But for everyone else, if I was to, let's fast forward, it's been a week now, and all these students, sorry, I need to enter mark grades points. Okay, so let's just type it. And by the way, you can actually fill it in like a spreadsheet. Obviously, 5 doesn't make sense. Obviously, that's perhaps not best practice, especially if you've got the speed grader, you want to give like meaningful feedback through the speed grader on their actual work. But for anyone who's doing no submissions or paper submissions, this is probably how you're going to be quickly populating their work. You can always go ahead and import this data though. So this one can be quite seamless. You can actually export this into a CSV file. Then you're working offline. You can actually populate all the marks from on the paper submissions or no submission papers, and then you fill it out and then you import that same format and it will populate it for you. So keep that in mind. But anyways, my whole point was that I have now put all these marks in. It's still manual, so everyone's waiting for their mark. When are we going to get our marks, miss? So finally, I'm ready to share the marks, and I can actually press the 3 buttons next to it. And I just have to press post marks. That's it. That becomes now an option. And I can just go ahead and choose those who are marked. Obviously, not everyone, because that just means everyone gets a notification saying, oh, your marks have been posted. And some people haven't actually even submitted anything. So there's nothing for them to check. And then I can go ahead and post. Now you can, so in Shelley's case, you can actually send it to specific sections if you wanted to. If you're saying just section C or just section D, get their marks, up to you. And I'll post it, give this some time. Sometimes it's really quick. Sometimes it takes a while. Oh, really quick. Okay, so that means just at the same moment, everyone who had given their marks in now get their marks manually. Fabulous. So just please keep in mind that is an option for manual. Now for those who said both, okay, some of you said both. How do you make some manual, some automatic? Super simple. Set your default, the one that will be most of the case. And then for any that's an exception to the rule, all you have to do is go to each individual one. So let's say this quiz, for example, I don't want it to be manual. Can you imagine with it like a 5-minute quiz and I would have to post marks, post marks, post marks. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this one, grade posting policy, just this one automatic. Okay, so that one's automatic. The rest of my assignments will now be manual. That's one option. Okay, what else do I want to show you while I'm here? One of my favorite features is, so you can see here that, okay, Bill, Erin, Barbara, Aaron, Beatrice, they have not submitted their assignment yet. What's going on? So I would want to send them a message. And you would have learned yesterday from Sue that you can send inbox messages, you can send announcements, but then I would have to, if I sent them an inbox message, I'd have to find each one of their names, okay? It's a bit cumbersome. Really cool feature in Gradebook is you can actually go and choose message student who. And if I press this, I can actually see, yeah, who hasn't submitted yet. And I can actually go ahead and just see all the people. So for me, it's who hasn't been marked because I haven't marked them yet. That just shows there's Aaron, there's Bill, you know, all those people there. And I can just say, you know, there you go. And then you can just go ahead and send the message. Now, if I did send that message, that will sync to my outbox in my Canvas outbox. So it is registered that I did send it from my outbox, and they will all receive that in their inbox. Okay, so there you go. That one didn't work right now because it wasn't a real case, but that's what will happen. Okay, so that's the main things within the Gradebook. Any questions about the Gradebook? No. All right, let's keep rolling then. Keep going now to the, yeah, we're coming up on the up to quizzes. So let's go to quizzes now. Okay, so I'm going to go to quizzes and we'll find our course again. And we've made one. Again, all you'd have to do to make a quiz is just hit plus and then you see quiz like this. But we've already made one. Sue's already made one. Literary terminology. So let's just talk about the different types of quizzes you can have and why this might be important and relevant to you. So just to let you know that there are actually two types of quizzes on Canvas, not to complicate things, but I just wanted you to know because you might read on Canvas community, you might hear from other users about something called new quizzes. New quizzes is coming, it's already existing. You can actually use it if you want. It should actually be default switched on for your accounts. So you can choose to use that, or you can choose to use the one that I'm going to train on. What are the pros and cons for both? You can look at lots of different Canvas community guides, or you can even purchase a custom training for that if you really wanted to, that goes over deep dives of the differences. But essentially, I'm going to teach on this classic mode because it still has a lot of good functionality. It's easy to share assessments as quizzes as well. So I'm going to go into this one, and all you have to do is press edit. Okay, cool. And let's talk about the different quiz. I want to talk about the different quiz types. So let's firstly put the descriptions. So that's my description, really simple. Do not put the quiz questions here. I've seen a lot of people do that. It's not the place to do it yet. Okay. Quiz types. So there's different types of quiz types, 4 main types to be exact. So there's two, and that breaks up in 2 main places, quizzes and surveys. Okay, so you might know surveys have no necessarily right or wrong answer. It's more just check your knowledge, just see what you already know. It could be good for feedback. There is also marked means it goes towards the gradebook. Unmarked means it doesn't even show up in the gradebook. So we're just in the gradebook. If you don't want this to show up in the gradebook, you choose unmarked. Now, same thing with actual quizzes. Quizzes, there's obviously a right or wrong answer. You can actually have, yeah, lots of different options for that. Now, if you want it to be marked, it appears in the gradebook. If you don't, if you make it a practice quiz, it doesn't actually appear in the gradebook, which could be really good if it's purely formative. Okay, so my question to you is, have a think about why you might use quizzes and surveys, and then I'll talk you through, yeah, because what you choose here is going to inform what quiz type you choose. So keep that in mind. Okay, great. Thanks so much for your votes. Few, oh, yep, 12, one more person normally. So, by the way, yeah, you can put anonymous feedback, and that can be unmarked. If you choose that, there's actually a box that says make it anonymous. And then you have midterm tests. So, and final online exam, that's obviously been very popular option during COVID because you can use Respondus web browser and you can actually put it in there so students can't open other browsers, obviously, when they're doing it. Okay, let's keep going. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So if you, obviously it's going to be a marked one, if it's going to be a midterm test or final online exam, you would choose marked quiz. If it's a short, snappy, formative, like it doesn't go towards anything, it will be practice quiz. If it's going to be anonymous feedback, unmarked survey, icebreaker survey, maybe a marked survey so you know who's who, reflection opportunity, unmarked survey. Yeah, so that's just the different options you might have. We'll keep it at marked quiz just so we can keep seeing it in the gradebook. Again, same like assignments, you can put it in an actual category, so you can actually create your own assignment group for quizzes if you wanted to. Let's go into the nuts and bolts of this. A few more things. Now this is all quiz focused. So if you wanted to shuffle the answers, so if you have multiple choice A, B, C, D, if you don't want what's in those options to be the same for every single student, you want to try and minimize cheating, you can actually shuffle the answers. Every time, every student who does it, every time they do it, it's a different order that the answers are in. You cannot shuffle questions in classic quizzes, so just keep that in mind. New quizzes you can, but we're focusing on classic quizzes. You can definitely shuffle the answers though. Time limit, sure, just short, snappy one, we'll make it 5. Allow multiple attempts, sure. Now just keep this in mind, always think about what you want your quiz to look like in the end. Because if it's going to be, you know, just a short, snappy, fun, formative quiz, you probably want them to be able to do it again and again and again until they get it right. Okay, so you would choose the multiple attempts and you would say, sure, they can do it, you know, up to 5 times. They could do it 100 times if they really wanted to. Now, if for those who voted final online exam, the time limit would probably be longer than 5 minutes, and you definitely wouldn't allow multiple attempts because it's a final online exam. So just think about the context of your assessment. Okay, also this one, let students see their quiz responses. This means once they submit their quiz, and this is, remember, keeping in mind with the gradebook, we made it automatic. So the moment they submit it, they can see their results. If you made a quiz manual, you would have to go in as the teacher into the gradebook and post marks every time they finish that quiz, which is good for final online exam, definitely. But if it's a short, snappy, formative quiz, you just want to make it automatic and you want to make sure that they can see their responses immediately. So you might want them to see their responses immediately so they can see what they got right and wrong, but you might not want them to see the correct answer because you want them to keep doing it again and again and again until they get all of them right? So that's in that scenario, that's what I would choose. If I was doing a final online exam, I wouldn't have either of these because I want that to be very private. So it's up to you. It's up to you to think about the context that you want it to be. I'm going to let my students see the correct answer. And if you wanted to, maybe it is an online exam, you can choose this, but you don't let them see it till after the assignment is due. You can do that as well. Okay, show one question at a time, up to you. Put a password before they can actually do the quiz. Again, you could all be in the same Zoom room. You could do it as well that it's a blended context where you're all in the same classroom and you're like, okay, I want you to all do this fun icebreaker now, but you can only do it now. This is the password, icebreaker 1, 2, 3. You could do that as well. IP addresses, you know, if you wanted to make only a particular computer lab be able to do the assessments, you could. And then final thing is assign who, when. Yeah, I'll just make it due Friday and it's for everyone. And I'll make the due until then. Okay, so that's it. No exceptions yet for any other student. And I'm going to go ahead and just hit save. Okay, so that's all the nuts and bolts for the quizzes. I haven't even shown you how to make the quiz questions yet. But is there any questions about just how to set up your quiz, just the settings? Okay, so I'm back here in the edit button. And I'm just going to finally go to the other tab, which was at the very top. So I've done all that, nuts and bolts. Then you come back and you go to questions. Okay, so this is the fun part. This is where we can actually create some questions. Now, I want to let you know that you can either create it completely from scratch, like rubrics, or you can actually find questions. You can find questions that other teachers in your other teachers within maybe your faculty have also made, and therefore the admin of that faculty has made a quiz question bank for you. It's very dependent on those with the admin shield to actually make that shared one. Or maybe you have actually made these quiz questions in your English course and you're the same teacher, so you want to bring it into your history course. You can, because it's your question, if that makes sense. It's harder to share quiz questions to others who are not part of your same courses. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make a new one from scratch, and then I'll actually find one that an admin has put into my account. So I'm going to go ahead and press new question. Lots of different options here, multiple choice all the way to formula question. Is you can already pre-populate what the correct answer is, which is amazing. It'll save you so much time. I remember I used to have to mark like weekly quizzes, and it was such a time consumer even, and I just had to always be like a, that's all it takes. So this one, it's already, they immediately get the mark if they choose the correct answer. Ones like essay question or text, essay question and file upload question, that obviously requires you as a teacher to take some time to actually review their work, and then you can give them their final grade. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and let's choose multiple choice. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and just that on. Again, unfortunately, you can't copy. Sorry. You can't copy these across. You do actually have to enter them as standard, which is why grouping the quizzes can help. But that's that option. So I'm going to update the question, and then I'll make a new question. Let's go ahead and make a essay question. And I'm going to make this an essay question. So that means that a teacher actually has to mark it. Update question. And then I'm going to do a multiple correct answers. Okay. There's a few different answers. So you can tick all that apply. I like to say that because sometimes they don't realize, like, is this multiple choice or is this several different options? And I'll do one more. So you just have to go ahead and add another answer. So that's the correct one. All right, and then you can go ahead and update question. Now, a little bit FYI, we're going to go ahead and just choose this green one. If your student gets the correct answer, you can say, good job. Or you can even put a video about personification there for them. If they, or like fun facts, so it's kind of like they can keep learning even while they're being assessed. If they get the wrong answer, you can say, try again. Okay, so once I've done this, very important, there's one main thing to take away from my quiz demonstration, it's to follow the update question button, because the amount of times and heartbreak that I see because someone does not press update question and just goes new question, build, 1 hour later, save, but they didn't press update question. Oof, none of it gets saved. So make sure you get to that stage where you don't actually see the answers, it's just the questions because you've updated it, and then you hit save. So let's just keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you how you can find questions. So I have a lot of quiz bank questions that were made for my administrator, but Australia, I'm going to choose that. I'm just going to choose that one option. I'm happy with that, and I'm going to add questions. Okay, that's done. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and hit save finally. Okay. Now, I just want to quickly show you, before I actually go into Suzy student view, I want to quickly show you where quiz question banks are held. So when I go and hit quizzes, okay, just the quizzes here, what you can do is hit this area here next to the plus quiz, and you choose manage question banks. Now, these are ones that only I can make as as Miss Teacher in my English course, okay? And then I can go ahead and add a question bank, so I can call it English Lit. Okay, and then I can actually go ahead into this one, and then I can add the questions directly into this bank. So far, this one actually, you know what, I should actually call this one English Lit, because that's the ones that I've already made. So you can see that's where my 3 questions are, right? Personification. So if I ever needed to find the English Lit questions for another English quiz, or maybe my history course that's in my same, my same account, I can actually find it. And this one, if I wanted to make brand new ones, maybe about cooking, then you would go through that same process, go to cooking, go into cooking, and then you just add the questions like you would. Yeah. Okay. Oh, English Lit has just changed. Whoops. Anyways, that was meant to be English Lit, sorry. And this one is cooking. It just shuffled because it realized this one had questions. Okay, yeah, and then if you wanted to go in, it's the same process. You just go add question, and then you can actually make a question bank first and then put them in the quiz. Up to you, whichever process works better. Okay, great. So that's question banks. I'm going to finally go ahead and create and do the quiz. So let me go into student view. I see a quiz question. Let me just. Is the question about quizzes? If not, Michelle, I might come to that at the end. Yeah, about converting PowerPoint presentation. My recommendation though would just be to insert it as a file, or just turn it into PDF and then just insert it like I did with those PDF documents, and then students can just view it. That would be my recommendation. We can talk about that more at the end. Okay, so let's go. So I'm in student view. And with Suzy student, I'm going to do my quiz. Okay, great, take quiz. And Suzy student, okay, what's this type of first name? Suzy, okay, it's first person. Why do composers, they use it? Because magical. Okay, and I'm just going to use an emoji. Because I'm Suzy's student and I can do that if I want to. Okay, and then I'm happy with that. So then I'm going to move on to personification. Tick all that apply. Okay, so I'm going to choose this one and this one. And then, which random question about the Australian flag? Sure. I just like to put this one in to show you, you don't have to just put text. You can actually put YouTube videos. You can put images here, recordings of yourself. So maybe you have a language option that's like, what is the correct way of saying, and you would spell out konnichiwa, for example. And then you record yourself saying konnichiwa, or, konnichiwa, or like, country wa, and you just record yourself or audio yourself, and then they have to listen and then choose the correct option. So it doesn't just have to be text. You could totally do what you wanted to do there. Any multimedia. Okay, so I'm done. I'm going to submit this quiz. Oh, I have one unanswered question. Okay, thanks, Candice, for letting me know. I didn't actually choose that. Let's choose America, because I've been seeing it all over the news, so that must be Australia. So I'm going to submit that quiz. Okay, so far I got 2 out of 4, but one of my questions is not yet marked. So this one's okay. This one's not yet marked because it's no autocorrect. That's correct, that's correct. And this one is incorrect. So then it actually tells me the correct answer, because if you think back to 10 minutes ago when I was showing you the settings, you can remove showing the correct answer. I kept this in because that's the default. So this is what the default looks like. If you don't want there to be the correct answer, you untick that option. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now, in terms of this one, in case you want to quickly see what this looks like for the teacher to mark, it's the same process as assignments. So quizzes can be pretty cool because that's why you can make it like an online exam. You don't have to, it doesn't just have to be quizzes. You can actually put like essay questions in here. So if I quickly go leave student view and I go into teacher mode again, so I'm now a teacher, and I go into the speed grader, I can see, yeah, that's done, and I can actually go ahead. Where is the question? Oh yeah, here we go. So this is, you know, that's lovely. Can you give more information? You know, and so I'm actually going to give her 0.5. I've really been in the half marks mood today, but I'll give her 0.5, and that's it. So now I've updated her marks. Now I can submit it. Ooh, and now she'll be able to find out that that's what her final mark was. So that's what you will look like if you have essay questions in your quizzes. Okay, good. Let's see how we're going. Might be able to have an early mark. I can give you some time back at the end because we're now at discussions. Okay, any questions about quizzes though? Any other questions about quizzes? Please let me know. No quiz. There's just Michelle's one about PowerPoint. Let me see if can I put that in. I might put that in discussions actually. I'll show you what I can do in discussion. Okay. Nice. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is let's go back to home. I'll quickly show you that you can actually put a PowerPoint, just add it as a file if you really wanted to. So I could go and choose a file. Let's think of one that I already have. Training examples. Do I have any PowerPoints? I don't actually know if I have any PowerPoints. What a video. I've got, I just want to give you an example if I've actually saved a PowerPoint. I might have.
Connie, we've just been playing with one and we put it in, and one, it looks ugly, and two, you can still download it as and then edit it as a PowerPoint. So I think the idea of the PDF, saving as a PDF, is probably better, and embedding it.
Also, did you try and embed it as the file, or is it Office 365 that it's saved on?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Oh, actually, one question with that is, so if we get the Office 365 integration, then do our students need to have Office 365 in order to utilize that?
Yeah, they would. They would need to have it.
Okay.
But you only need to, and same as Google Drive as well. Yeah. They just need to sign in once though, and then they should be fine. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll definitely recommend I always just put PDFs if I export it. But I'm just, sorry, I just don't have an example of, I might have an Excel sheet because that could, analytic, let's just use this one because Excel is a different format to, it's a different format to PDFs. I just want to show you what it could look like. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and file and save this. Actually, that should be inside my downloads somewhere. Let me look that up. Downloads. Actually, this is anything PowerPoint. No, it doesn't look like. Oh, okay, here we go. Actually, there's this PowerPoint. So let's try and use that. Okay. PPTX. Looks like. Oh, Bridget, good question. What are fudge points? Yeah, good question. So what that means is when you're making a quiz, let's say it was an online exam and it's like 30 out of 30 points, and you've marked all your students and based on their multiple choice, so far they've gotten 17 out of 30. But their essay response is so good. It's like the best essay response you've ever read. But the essay response is only out of 5 points. So what you could actually go ahead and do is say, okay, so technically it's 5 plus 17, but because that was so excellent, I'm going to give her 3 extra fudge points. So that means that it doesn't go, but you don't want to be unfair and say it's just because of the essay response. You want to say all over, I can see she put a lot of effort in this submission, in this quiz. So I'm just going to just chuck in an extra 3 points. So that's what fudge points means, Bridget. Yeah. Okay, so this is taking a while to upload. Let me actually just show, if you open up the PDF, it will open up as a PowerPoint. And yeah, I see what you mean. You would be able to edit it. The students would be able to go into it. So it will open up in their PowerPoint. So if you want to make it so they can't edit, definitely PDF that. Let's see what that. Let's just leave that. Let's leave that loading and see what happens. But as we do that, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to. Let's move ahead and just move back into discussions quickly as it loads. Okay, so let's go into this one. Do you like the opening of Lonely Bones? So all you have to do is same process. This is the easiest one. So sigh of relief. Just go to edit. Like same thing. You could just go ahead and just copy and paste. Just give some things. You'll also need to ask probing questions like that, make that like a brighter color so that you see post once. There you go. Okay, so that, for example, you just format that however you want. If you want it to be for particular sections, you definitely can. Just load it, yeah. It is a big PowerPoint though. I did put a big one anyway, so let's see how it goes. Now, if you wanted to, let's try actually put that here. I'm going to try and put a PowerPoint here. Look at. Is there any easier ones? I just want to see a small content one which has less data. This one has less. Okay, we'll just choose that one. Actually, we'll do quizzes. So I'm just trying to find a smaller file. Okay. So that's just the file document, and I'm going to do these options here. Just automatically open. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure what will happen, but let's see. Okay, anyways, back to discussion. So you can allow threaded replies here. So you can actually go ahead and say, I want my students to be able to comment on each other's, which it says it is. You need to post once and then reply twice. So they need to reply to other people's comments. If you want your students to not to have to kind of leave a comment before they can see anyone else's, maybe to avoid copying and pasting original thought, for example, you can click that as well. If you want to make it marked so it appears in the Gradebook, you definitely can as well. You can also make it a discussion and peer review. We won't cover that today just because it's not fundamentals, but definitely look up the guides if you need more information on marked. I won't make it marked. I don't want it to appear in the Gradebook. It's just more of a formative discussion. And I'm also going to press allow liking. Now I'm going to give you one poll that's related to discussions, which just addresses the why, because I know sometimes people think, discussions not that important, don't really need to use it. But maybe these ideas will give you some motivation to look into it. Just still loading now. The Get to Know You one has been a very popular option during COVID because especially when there's been new semesters started with complete new students and teachers, and you want to kind of just see what people look like and just feel a bit more interpersonal. I've seen discussions really utilized for that. Yeah, definitely interaction, post once to reply twice. You can even, as you can see here, they can like each other's ones as well. So that they can, make it feel like social media a little bit. And if you can even sort it by likes, so the most popular one appears on the top. There is one that says podcast feed. I don't love it. It just essentially means if they record themselves, it puts it in one big media recording. I've never actually personally met someone who's used it because you can just use the rich content editor recording tool, but do keep in mind that is an option. Okay, so thanks for that. I'll just quickly share those results. Yeah, so definitely for some collaboration ideas. Just keep that in mind. Don't forget about poor discussions. All right, so we're going to go ahead, and that's where you would press for those who said group discussion. Just choose that. And that allows you to automatically manually put them into their own groups, or just let Canvas put them into equal numbered groups. Okay, I'm going to hit save. Okay, cool. So I can see this one. It looks like it's just going to be another thing. I think PowerPoint just takes a really long time. Michelle, how long did it take for your PowerPoint to upload? Oh, here we go. Yay, here's mine.
Yeah, it didn't take that long, but it's just the fact that the it can be edited unless of course we lock it, but it's I think the PDF might be a nicer it'll take less time to upload as well.
Cool, nice. Yeah, there is one thing where you could actually, when you upload it, you can make this text white. That's like a little hack. But still, if they just press around this area, it opens up in PowerPoint that they can edit. So yeah, I'd probably say either lock it or just put it in a PDF, which is nice. Oh, this one didn't take too long to load. That's weird. Anyway, so that's my PowerPoint there inside of the discussion, but it does mean they have to scroll all the way down until they can see the next part, which is a bit annoying, but here you go. And I can go ahead and say, here is my comment. Okay, done. And just quickly, one more time, is Susie student. Go back into student view. I can see it here. It's telling me to, oh no, I did send a reminder. So do you like the opening of it? Okay, I can see it's here. I can see this is the one thing that people don't really know about. It means that there's a one reply and it's unread. So blue means amount of comments that are unread. And then I can go all the way. Sorry, scroll down here. Means you have to, yeah. I'll leave a response. As a student, I might record myself. I can do all these things. Response. Yeah. And then I'll hit post reply. And then ta-da! Now I can see my teacher's comment. I can like it. I can say nice. And then I can hit post reply. Okay, so that's it with discussion. Super simple. Like, so now that you've gone through quizzes and assignments, it should be very easy to do. But yeah, very useful options with discussions as well. Okay, cool. So that is, yeah, let's go to the agenda. We've pretty much covered it all. We've gone through a nice clockwise motion, anti-clockwise motion, made assignments, attached a rubric, submitted it as Susie student, marked Susie student's work, all the annotation tools, only available with PDF submissions. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. If they just upload in the text, you won't necessarily see all the annotation tools. We then marked it, we graded it with the rubric, and then you can see Susie student's perspective of the speed grader. So she can actually go ahead and she can leave comments as well and see all that feedback that the teacher left. And then we went into the gradebook as a teacher, see their grades, gradebook menu, so automatic versus manual, very important. If you want most of your assignments to be manually graded, as in given back manually, you do need to go and hit that little bold button on the top right-hand corner to make all the assignments that rule, and then pick and choose as you go. So that changed the gradebook policies. Quizzes, made a very simple quiz, showed you how to use question banks if you wanted to. Again, there's an asterisk next to it because your admins or head of departments who haven't the admin shield in Canvas can actually create those shared resources for you. Keep that in mind. Finally, we ended with discussions, really simple to use, different ways you can use it, showed you how to leave a comment on it, what unread messages mean, the little blue box, and then, yeah, how you can actually just respond and like different comments as well. So with that, we've actually come to a full completion with some time to spare. So I'm going to ask you, last one, my favorite question of the day. So based on what you've just seen, what is your favorite? What are you most excited to use from Fundamentals 2? Speed grader, that was a quick one. Yeah. Hey, someone said discussion. I like seeing that. It's like supporting the underdog. Quizzes? Yeah. Okay, soon, nearly there. Okay, cool. So I will end the poll, share the results. Ta-da-da-da-da. Yeah, 57% of you said speed grader. So I did preface that is normally the favorite, but yeah, there you go. That's that one. So I've got one more thing. Let me actually minimize my screen now. Okay, so the next steps is for those who are part of the standard onboarding, all of this will be, the link will be placed on the same onboarding site, same as Fundamentals 2 that Sue did. Same thing with Sue, if you could provide some feedback on your experience of today's session, please do. That's me, Connie. So just let me know your thoughts about today's session. And again, if you haven't had the chance to log your attendance, please, now is the perfect time to do so. So I'm just going to put both those links, both the logging your attendance and sharing feedback for today's session here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's any last minute questions, please let me know now. Yeah, and you'll see Sue tomorrow for studio training if you've purchased it. If you haven't, don't worry. No problem. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay. Don't forget to log your attendance and feedback. Greatly appreciated. Oh, thanks. Glad that you found it fun and exciting. Learning should be fun, right? Okay. Cool. Well, I'm going to clock off then, and hopefully I'll see you guys around. All the best. Have a good week.